All right. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. You have joined us for the first episode of Four Corners Podcast. It's a podcast of siblings giving our point of view on each and everything we decide to talk about. So welcome.
What's good, everybody?
Sad.
All right.
We're missing one.
So we're gonna get right into it. You know, we got a technical difficulty we experience right now. One of our siblings fell out of the chat, so we're gonna give her an opportunity to come back in before we move into the introductions.
Sounds good.
She is first in line because she holds seniority. So we'll hang out a few minutes and just and do what we do. So how y'all doing this morning? What's going on in y'all world?
It's good. It's good. How are you today? How's everybody doing?
I couldn't be better. I mean, we embarking on this journey that we done talked about. We did a whole lot of talking about it. So now we walking it. I'm feeling good.
Me too. I'm happy about that. Mm-hmm. What about you, Deez? How you doing this morning?
I'm good. I'm under the weather a little bit, but I'm all right.
Okay. Well, since we're going to wait for the technical difficulties, I want to let everybody know that the objective of this podcast is to think outside of the box. We are not your regular people. We're different. We think a little bit different. So we're out here to just add a little spice to things. You know, we want people to think outside of the box. We want people to not go with the normal answer, the regular keeping up with the Joneses. We want to bring a different view to people. So that's what this podcast is all about. And this is very new to us also. So y'all bear with us as we grow through this. We're going to go through this and grow through this. So thank you guys for your patience with this whole process. Because again, this is our first time at it. I'm really excited. I've been wanting to do a podcast for a long time. We often have family chats. And so during our family chats, we talk about everything. And so that's where the idea of the podcast actually came from, was the fact that each individual always brings various angles. You know, we talk about everything in this family. We have an open line and nothing is really off limits. So we just decided, why not record some of our conversations? Because we're just real people who want to just give our angle to things. Would you like to say anything on that, Deez?
Yeah, I mean, we just trying to get our opinions out there. Everybody else has a podcast, and you know, people are expressing themselves, and you know, it's always like anything else, especially when you see podcasts or the news or whatever. You always have a different opinion in your mind, and people are expressing their opinions, and you'd be like, why they're not touching on that point? You know,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of just want to be able to touch on the points that I feel that people aren't touching on.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I think everybody has their own interpretation and information that we come across, you know, and I agree with you. Like you said, when you see a hot topic, a hot button topic, and you wondering like, how come ain't nobody approaching it from this angle? You know what I mean?
Right.
So us getting together, doing this, it gives the opportunity to speak our perspective on whatever the subject matter might be for today or the episodes to come. So
this is only the beginning. This is only the beginning. Absolutely. So, you know, everybody take a good look, because this is stage one of many stages. You know what I mean? So I'm excited about where we're going to go from here. I just wanted to ask real quick, can everybody hear me okay?
Oh yeah, we can hear you just fine. You good.
Okay, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. While you had stepped out the studio for just a second, I had tapped in a little bit about the objective, letting everybody know that this is just a chance to think outside of the box. And so when you're thinking outside of the box, it's just various angles, just like there's several directions you can go to when you're getting somewhere. You can go this way and still end up over there. That's what this is.
Right.
That's what this is.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So Are you with us now, too, Sav Shakur? Because you first in line for the intro. So we was waiting on you before we could get this rocking. The mic.
I am. Now
Okay. So we kind of kept it rolling in your absence while you was trying to get stuff dialed in. So it's all good. Your absence was missed, but it was not an obstacle.
Right.
Yeah.
So my introduction, my name is Tusav Shakur, also known as Tusav, the oldest of these siblings right here. And we're coming here to just spit some real shit right here.
Oh dear God.
I'm just gonna speak on the fact that I have a nervous tendency, and sometimes when things are not funny, I laugh. So forgive me if I'm laughing because it's not funny, but I don't know what else to do. We're live.
Okay, we got her back. We got her back. I think.
No, we don't.
Come on, Sav. You gotta unmute your mic, sis. There you go.
I'm back.
Okay. And we want to see you too. So can you adjust your camera angle? There you go. All right. So, like we said, intro is going according to family seniority, and since you're on the top of the list of the lineage, you up.
Okay. I just want to say thank you, everybody, for joining us for our Four Corners podcast. And my name is Tusav Shakur, known as Tusav. That's what my family calls me because I'm the eldest of our siblings, and I can be raw and uncut when I have to. And I'm just going with the flow so we can have a good podcast and talk about some real shit. I love y'all.
Thank you. And I'm the second oldest. My name is Miss Mai, in case you guys don't know, which is short for Maisha. And I'm the second born. I am a mother of 4. I have 3 grandkids. I'm excited about doing the podcast. Like I said, I always had dreams of being a talk show host. So now I get to do this shit, and I'm just juiced about that. So I'm looking forward to being able to do something with my siblings. It means a lot to me.
No doubt.
You can find me on Instagram, Miss My 72. Thank you.
All right. My name is Deez. I'm the middle. So these 4 siblings that we got on the podcast, just basically tuning into the podcast. And like we said, we always kind of wanted to do something like this. We have pretty enlightened conversations on our Facebook group chat. So we just wanted to take it a step further, and get ourselves out there. Not too much to say on the intro. I'll kind of let my conversation speak for itself.
Pretty much. Good job.
That's what's up. Okay, so everybody, I'm Valley Uno. I go by a variety of different names depending on the sector I'm sitting in at the time. But for this particular arena, it's Uno, Valley Uno. I'm excited about this podcast here and the conversations we're gonna have. I'm the baby of the bunch out of the 4, so over time I developed a little bit of outspokenness, in an effort to try to be heard. And so this is an opportunity for us all to sit down and just talk about life issues and a variety of topics from the multiple different angles that we do in our own personal conversations anyway. So we really kind of just letting the world be a fly on the wall in our family convos. And it's up, and I'm ready to rock. Right.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for all the introductions. I'm happy that we're here. I don't know how you guys want to navigate through this, if we were going to move on to the next topic, or if we will hang out in the introduction for a little while, give a little backstory or anything like that.
I think keeping it short and sweet is good. We can move on to the next topic.
Okay, so for today's show, we were going to tap on a couple of different things. We're going to talk about personal growth. We're going to talk about music, and we're going to talk about community service. So first and foremost, personal growth. We will let Tusav jump in and give us what she's got to get on that. And then anybody, we can chime in. Personal growth. We're about to have a conversation about it like we would do normally on our chat.
Okay. Up and down. I want to say first, excuse the background interruptions, because this is growth. This is serious, and just deal with me for a minute. But personal growth is a daily thing that we have to do, that I know that I personally am working on doing. Loving myself so I can go to the next season of my life.
Yeah.
You need to go to the hospital and get that thing.
So to piggyback what Big Sis said, as far as I just jotted some things down, because I don't know, sometimes I have short-term memory loss. So I'm just going to go over personal growth. To me is, we wanted to talk about personal growth. And for me, the goal is to challenge yourself to be great. That's what I feel about personal growth, is to strive to change. These are just notes that I jotted down when I think about personal growth. We can debate all day long over purpose and over passion, but it's a call to action. That's what it is. It's a call to action. So I'm here, and I want to affirm. I want to empower. I want to congratulate. I want to celebrate. I want to advise, elevate, and all this emotionally, financially, physically, and spiritually. So that's what personal growth is for me.
Right. And for me, I just kind of put some stuff down for personal growth. Some of it I might have already done, like quitting smoking cigarettes.
Good.
Maintaining a disciplined diet, maintaining a consistent workout schedule, keeping a positive and productive, stable state of mind, maturing mentally as I age, because I feel like as you get older, you kind of got to transition with your age. You know what I'm saying? Be behind as far as on the for your age, and to mentally align with my age, and being an example for my children.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's very good. That's exactly. Yeah.
So I think it's fair to say, just based on what's already been said, that personal growth, it kind of encompasses putting ourselves in a uncomfortable setting, you know what I mean, in order to grow from that discomfort, whether it be, we're trying to quit smoking, or we're trying to dial in our food intake, what it is that we're eating, or whatever the case may be. Would y'all agree that discomfort and growth kind of go hand in hand?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that's the only way that you can expand, is to be uncomfortable. If you are comfortable in it, then you're never going to challenge yourself to do something different. Mm-hmm. You have to allow yourself to be uncomfortable. Sometimes growth hurts. And I used to say that growth, the acronym for growth, I had an acronym for it. And I'm not going to throw it out there at this time because it might be a little personal to me. But this is the thing. Yes, I agree 100% that growth, in order to do that, you have to be uncomfortable. And you have to sit in that discomfort. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I wanted to also, I said I was going to be congratulating. So I want to congratulate you, Deez, on being able to quit smoking. I've seen you pick them up and put them down several times. The fact that you're able to do that, it takes a lot, because I've had a problem with As y'all know, as my siblings, I'm that one who's gonna pull me up a Newport and get it going, you know. So don't be mad if y'all see that on the podcast either, because I ain't there yet. But you know,
it's all good. It's all good. It starts with a thought, right? You know,
right,
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm. So, I guess if we were to try to inspire somebody to step into this personal growth in their own life, you know, what could we say to somebody to try to inspire them to step into their own personal growth, or to see it as a necessity? You know what I mean? For me, I think the way I would say it is that you got to challenge yourself to be whoever it is you see yourself to be, because your life,
the battlefield's
is
in your
based
mind
on the way you view yourself. So
Yeah.
if it was me, I would try to unpack it like that, somewhere along them lines, just for anybody that's paying attention right now. If we can be a sense of inspiration to somebody, let's go ahead and try to do that.
Absolutely. Sometimes you also, I would say, sometimes you have to change your environment, because it can be, the repetitiveness makes it easy to continue into the same thing. Sometimes you have to quiet that noise, the excess noise, and that's part of the discomfort, because nobody wants to leave what's familiar to them. So I would encourage anybody listening who is trying to change and have personal growth, if you're having a hard time doing it right where you're at, go outside, go have a walk, get that space around you. You know, get a new space, you know, even if it's only for a few minutes, because that's going to help change your mindset.
Right.
And I would chime in and say that I believe that being able to diagnose not necessarily problems or issues, or you have to be able to diagnose the things that you want to change, you know what I'm saying, and pinpoint them, and be able to identify the things that you're trying to change about yourself, or the things you're trying to tweak or you know, add on to, or whatever it might be.
That's a good point.
You have to be able to diagnose what's going on in order to add a fix to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it, really. And that diagnosis you talk about, it requires honesty. We got to be honest with ourselves about areas that we might be failing in, or areas that we might could use some adjustment. And that self-examination ain't always an easy thing, but
no, it isn't. It's very hard to self-examine yourself.
Honest about the areas we need growth in.
Right.
I know personally, it's been very hard for me to step into that spot, because I've been accustomed to just doing things my way, and my way apparently isn't working. And it's a struggle every day, especially seeing that I basically not failed, but haven't made the right choices. And it's hard to change something that's a custom.
Well, and first things first, I also would encourage anybody to never look at yourself as a failure. Okay. It's okay to diagnose where the problem is, but you are not a failure. Anytime that you're allowing your mind to think, I can redirect this. So that's the failure is staying in where you're at. There's no fail, because everybody makes mistakes. Just be human. Allow yourself to be human. It's just when you have to remove that whole thing. So never look at yourself as a failure. I don't care who you are out there. Anybody listening, I want you to know
I'm not saying I'm a failure. I'm not saying I'm a failure. That's what I'm not saying. It's just I have made wrong choices. And it's not easy stepping myself from out of those, but I'm working on it. Trust me.
Yeah.
Everything is day by day. It takes time. Everything takes time. If you're baking a cake, you got to put in some different ingredients, and then you got to put it in the oven, and it bakes itself. So everything is a time process. Just understand that, you know. And so sometimes I think we give ourselves, when we set short-term and long-term goals, it gives you some wiggle room. You know, don't put too much of an expectation on yourself, because then you're setting yourself up for more failure. If you leave it a wide range, like, hey, I'm going to change the way I eat, instead of saying I'm starting a diet today. You know what I mean? Because then that makes it harder. So just remember that also.
Yeah, sometimes we just got to tell ourselves that we have a willingness to do something different. Like, you know, if we trying to eat better or we trying to quit smoking, hey, I'm willing to eat in a healthy fashion. I'm willing to live a smoke-free lifestyle. You know, this is, you know, these are the affirmations we got to say to ourselves versus beating ourselves up saying, oh, well, I'm gonna do it this, that, and the other. Maybe you can't do it right away. Maybe you have to develop the willingness first before you can just jump off the deep end. But I do appreciate you saying that, you know, for people not to view themselves as failures. You know, I had a conversation one time where, you know, I was talking to one of my boys actually, and he was telling me that, you know, not to look at things as a failure or a success, you know, more or less that it's just an experience, you know. And, when you take on that experience, it's up to you as an individual to grab what you can out of that you can use in the experiences to come. So I appreciate you touching on that. That's something that I have to tell myself regularly, when just using the word, even though I don't view myself as a failure, but just using the word, it puts that energy into circulation. So that's a solid reminder.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's not really anything. I mean, everybody makes mistakes and nobody's perfect. And I think that's one of the biggest issues we have in our society right now.
I agree.
Everybody has this assumption.
Y'all work with me right here. I'm transitioning from one car to the next destination. So I'm trying to gather my things. So work with me here. I'm not leaving the podcast.
We're just happy you're here. We're happy you're here, and all hands on deck. Do what you have to do, because again, we know that we came up with this. And so for anybody listening, let me show about personal growth. I think we have to tap on this. Last Sunday, we had a family call and decided no more delays. We are going to have a podcast. So here we are 1 week later doing the podcast. So again, there's no expectation. Handle your business, sis, because you know we already accomplished something. We are actually here doing this. So it don't get no better than that.
Absolutely.
Right. I just want to make sure I got everything, so I don't have, once I get back stationary.
Yeah, just go ahead and handle your business. It's all good. If you need to cut out your camera or whatever, you know, however you want to do it, just go ahead and handle your business, because we're gonna keep it running regardless. So do your thing, and once you're able to get back right, we'll be here waiting on you.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, the fact that we go from our little messenger video call to this in a 7-day period, you know. We talked about everything starting with a thought. At one point in time, we was talking about doing this for who knows how long. And I think it's fair to say everybody knows I was probably the least interested. Not that I didn't want to do it. I just was, you know, I don't know, dealing with whatever I was dealing with that was making me reluctant to take this jump. So it's growth just by the fact that we being here. And I think the fact that we pulled it off in a 7-day period from its inception to, you know, the birth of it. Right. We all deserve a pat on the back. So good job, y'all. We did it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, I know you hate it, but Fab Four.
Oh man. Yeah, but we here though. So I mean, the energy is what it is, and it's live and it's up, and I can't wait to see how this is going to flourish, how this is going to grow.
Oh, it's going to grow. It's going to grow. So I feel like we should transition because personal growth is a smooth. We can smooth transition into the next topic, which is music, and I feel like it intertwines a little bit because for me, music helps me so much, and I'm glad you placed it as music and self-expression because it's really like that. Like when you hear the old wise tale, they say music soothes the soul. That's not a joke. Music does soothe the soul. It makes me feel good. And it does. This crazy part, society would have you to believe that rap music might make you feel its way. No, sometimes I feel good. I listen to some Tupac and I'm like throwing middle fingers up and it still makes me feel good.
Right.
Sometimes I put church music on and I'm praising heaven. But either way, it's moving something inside of me. It is a self-expression. So I love music. Music is one of the things that as siblings, and I don't even want to stop it as siblings, our whole entire family is musically inclined. We all love music. We listen to a wide range of music, and it's just an important glue that keeps us together.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with the music soothes the soul. And that's partly why, I merged the two with the music self-expression, because the reason why I think music soothes the soul is because it comes from the soul. Whether it's somebody sitting down, stroking a guitar, whether they playing a horn, they writing lyrics, singing a song, all that came from that individual's soul. So of course it's going to have the power to move the soul of somebody else. And that's that self-expression in action. And for me, why I love music so much is because I feel like it has the ability to talk or speak to you and or for you. And it just depends on the content, you know what I mean, where you fall in line with that. Sometimes a song is speaking for you, sometimes it's speaking directly to you, you know what I mean? And that's that harmony that we talking about, that soothing of the soul, because it comes from within.
Yeah, but I have my journeys going through some of the things I've been through, being incarcerated and stuff like that. And that's one of the main things that got me through my time is being able to, tap in with somebody else's expression or somebody else's art, and to take those journeys with those people that make those songs. And, I listen to a lot of rap, but I listen to rap because I'm kind of like a hip hop head. Like
y'all give me a minute. I'm trying to get back cool. I love y'all.
You can turn the other thing off.
Too soft. Mute
your mic, sis.
Perfect. Go ahead, Dees.
Okay, that's the second time.
No, but I think that was good what you were saying of how in that situation you let their journey get you out of yours, because that was one of the side notes that I had put. I put, for me, music has saved my life at times, and it puts me out of my head and into a different mindset. So I'm glad that where you were going with your conversation of it, because at times everything isn't always pretty and shiny. One thing about life is that it's got peaks and it's got valleys. So when I've been in both, I grab a hold of music. Music, when it's my dark times, I do listen to music and it makes me feel better. It makes me not worry about whatever I'm going through. Like I'm listening to the story that they're telling.
Right. And stuff like you were saying, like Tupac. Tupac touched on topics that everybody, that's lived some sort of a struggle will get, and understand.
Right.
So that's one of the main go-tos, for when people are incarcerated. A lot of brothers listen to Tupac. Some people have to listen to R&B. They missing their chick or whatever. And, it kind of just depends on what mood you in, where you want to journey to give yourself that food for your soul.
Would you say that music also gives you an insight into the person itself, or do you feel like it's just a form of storytelling? Because when we talk about Tupac, I think a lot of people got it confused. His life and the music started to blend together, and they categorized that as that's who he was, but he was telling stories through his music.
He definitely was. And
Yeah. Because I think it's safe to say that a lot of he took a real artist perspective on stuff. And what I mean by that is a lot of what he would speak about in his music wasn't necessarily from his own pool of experiences. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
it was things he's seen around
the
him.
one that got him on. The first
Brenda's
thing we heard about, Brenda's Got a Baby. We know he ain't talking about himself. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
That's the beauty of art, being an artist. You don't have to, it's not just a show about who you are. It can be, you can, like you said, give insight into your own character by speaking your perspective on somebody else's experience and how it may have impacted you. You know what I mean?
Isn't it a great thing to be a voice for the voiceless though? Because
Absolutely.
How many Brendas with a baby, they needed a voice. Because they are so he told a story that had nothing to do with him, but I'm sure maybe it was at a bird's eye view, something that he was able to see himself.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt.
Now, when he was saying hit him up, now we know that nigga was really,
that boy was on one.
When he was saying hit him up, he was speaking from his own. That was coming from his stomach when he was saying that.
right. And he meant that. And we understood that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Music is a big deal for me. It's crazy, even though I'm partial to hip hop as far as my method of musical expression. When I'm listening to music, though, I always get pulled to the R&B side, and I think maybe that's got something to do with the split that you have within yourself. Like, yeah, I can get on here and do the hardcore hip hop or whatever, but in my private moments, R&B is what really moves me. You know what I mean? Like that. I don't know. I just think that's kind of weird. That's something I've thought about multiple times. Like, why is it if I'm not trying to write a song, I ain't really even tripping off no hip hop, no rap music?
Well, and see, this is the weird thing. So I never have considered myself a country music person. Working in hospitality, they play that quote unquote, they call it elevator music, but it's flat out country music is what I hear. And so then I'm like, found myself listening to some country stuff, and I'm like, okay, I hear you. Like, and so again, we get into the importance of the storytelling of it all, so and in some of the slang that I heard in country music. And so I have found myself laughing at the desk, like, I can't even believe, but you hear something over and over and over and over and over and over again, you're gonna start singing it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so I hate commercials.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like certain, and even when you hear a song like I'm happy up along, if you like, sometimes people will wear out a song and you're like, if I hear that fucking happy song one more time, I'm going, but it's like you find yourself singing it at the same time.
Right. Me personally, I love country music because of the content. I'm not gonna. Okay, let me put it like this. I'm not somebody that's like, that's for them, that's for somebody else. Because the content of country music, 9 times out of 10, they talking about something to where if you living and breathing in this normal reality that we call life, it's relatable. And man, that actually makes me, I kind of understand why I don't really be big on hip hop, because there's this grandiose reality that's expressed in hip hop. I can't relate to a lot of the stuff that's being said. I'm not sitting on meal tickets. I ain't got fancy cars. I'm not dipping and diving with every hot chick I run across. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So, a lot of that stuff just doesn't relate to me. So maybe that's the reason why I get pulled more to the R&B side when I'm
Does
listening.
my head look like Malcolm Myers tilted to the side?
Bling, 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 bling.
She ain't got a face.
I definitely have to agree with that.
Yeah, you know, she don't. I agree with all that. But yeah, call me back when y'all finish, man.
What's going on? Like, can we? What's all that?
Oh, I didn't know I unmuted the mic.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
But now, I still, I was on my way back from out of town. I just haven't yet got to my house yet. Hopefully, I'll be there before we get off this podcast.
You're good. You're good.
I do want to jump in on every conversation because I'm just as part of this as you guys are. Believe it or not, it's just a little slow.
Quit trying to explain yourself and go into your topic. We're good with it.
You're good. It ain't no need to keep addressing that. You good.
Right.
We on here and it's moving.
I
Let's
see
go.
we have 2 viewers. That's good. I wonder, thank you for joining our podcast.
Absolutely.
Exactly. We had got up to 5 at one point I had seen, so that was good.
Mm-hmm. But as for the music myself, I love rap music, but I love I like some rock music. I like some I love R&B music, and I love church music. So it just all depends on what mood I'm in. If I want to feel like I'm radical, I'm Tupac all day long, okay? Because that's my nigga, and I love Tupac.
Right.
Shit.
Right.
That's the best music for me.
Look, that's how you got the name.
As you guys can tell at this podcast, we have a love for Tupac.
Mhm.
That's a real ass nigga. And that's all it is to it. That's why they took his ass out.
Me against the world, baby.
Well, I definitely think the music now is kind of like Valley was saying. Basically, it's too sensationalized to relate to. You know what I'm saying? Just and a lot of people would disagree. I think it's affected our overall culture by having music that's centered on violence, sex, drugs, and in my opinion, negativity. But I do listen to it because I'm like I said, I watched hip hop at its inception, so I there's no way I'm not going to listen to it because I do like the art form, and some artists are able to keep it real, not bridge the make it about what it's not really about, and it's really about expression when it all boils down to it. And so everybody has the right to tell their story, you know what I'm saying? But just know, if you want to tell a story, you want to inspire people with your story, do you want to inspire them to do right or do wrong, or to live good or live bad, or to make mistakes or progress, So
Right. I think like you said, everybody's got the right to tell their story, and there's going to be some dirt in some of the stories, but if somebody is to sift through the dirt of your story, are they ever going to run across the gem, or is it just really a pile of dirt? You know what I mean? Like that, let there be something that can be taken away from that. And I think that's part of the thing that's lost in today's music, is because there's a lot of people that are jumping in the game on a lick. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm gonna do this because this was gonna get me paid. They're not even thinking about having something to say. Like I say it all the time. If I'm gonna have something to say, then I'm gonna make sure I actually have something to say versus just talking to be talking. You know what I mean? And I think that's what gets lost in today's music. It's just not enough people that are taking this stance for the reason of saying something. You know what I mean?
And I want to piggyback on that. I heard everything that you said. I was in agreement on that. I was trying to be courteous and not actually smoke on the podcast, but it's going to happen. Anyways, one thing that was important when you said, if I'm going to have something to say, then I must have something to say. And that's what it is. People, they get involved in the industry for various different reasons. Okay. And there are a lot of people who didn't have shit. So if you offer them a deal and it's not a good deal, but it's more money than they have, then they're going to go right into that. They're trying to feed their families. That's all respect. There's nothing wrong with that. However, after a while, when you build up your fan base, I agree. You have to have something worth listening to. Come on, you can't say the same mumbo jumbo. There is an obligation to drop a gem. You have to.
You're an artist, so you're supposed to be yourself. You're not supposed to be like everybody else.
Right.
I can't remember who said it. I want to say it was Maya Angelou, but don't quote me on that. But the statement was this, that it is the responsibility of every artist to reflect the times in which they live. So, and not just the area or circumstances in which you live, but the times, the actual happenings, regardless of where your section is at. And I think that's the part that and it's good though that we talking about this, because I'm gonna be able to put some action behind it real soon. Y'all gonna get a dose of what Valley Uno's really talking about real soon, so you'll be able to understand my take on it. But I think it's important to address life as it affects everybody, not just how we're affected in our own section, because that's an opportunity to demonstrate our vision of the world that we live in, and that it's not a self-centered vision.
Okay, and so with that being said, I hope you guys don't mind. I hope you don't.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who's got the floor?
Go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say, I hope you guys don't mind. I feel obligated to, since we are talking about this, to advise all the viewers that we have a lot of talent in our family, and it comes from whether they're singing, whether they're rapping, writing poems. We are a family full of different artists. So here you guys will also be able to use this as a platform to show your true artistry. Deez and Valley, you guys both have actually been in the studio and have recorded songs. So I think that goes a long way as well. I feel like that has to be addressed as well. And because maybe you guys didn't say what everybody wanted to be said, or say what the normal people want to hear in rap, then you guys might have been slept on. But here we have a platform to utilize that as well.
I'm not a rapper, but I'm an artist. So I'm definitely going. My daughter told me the other night, Mom, why are you sleeping on your talent? You could be a millionaire. Why are you doing that? And I no excuse, but today's a different day. Today's a new day for a new start.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's all good. Whenever the awakening happens, it's right on time. So don't even look at it like ain't nobody deliberately sleeping on nothing. We just haven't woke up to the possibilities of what we can do. You know what I mean? So whenever the awakening happens, it's right on time.
Yeah, because the majority of my stuff doesn't even have profanity in it. The B word, the N word. I try to stray away from as much negativity in my music as possible. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I do got street music, all out street music, because some of my background, my personal background. But like I said, as far as an artist goes, I don't want to have the same painting that another artist has, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like some of that stuff is unnecessary. And why would we just focus on,
only that? Yeah.
There's a lot to be said about humanity and the struggle that we call the Black struggle and things like that. And as an artist, I definitely want to put more into it than I want to create more pimps and hoes. I don't want to create more gun-toting youngsters. I don't want to create more, violence.
Well, and that's the thing, because I'm like, I love various artists, you know what I mean? And so that's important too, because some of that is got to be said, you know what I mean? Like, I understand when we say, touch one of mine, on everything I own, I will destroy everything you touch. Play the game. Who can't feel that? Who can't, even if you are a calm, cool, collective person who's never committed a crime, if you hear them bars right there, you're gonna say, well, I can relate to that.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, no doubt. I think I don't know. I just look at the whole evolution of hip hop music, and there was a point in time where I could understand the necessity for talking about certain shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it wasn't getting exposure. The realities of particular communities were not being exposed. The world was able to go on pretending like this ain't reality for some people over here. So it needed to be said. You know what I mean? But I think we've elevated beyond that point. I think it's safe to say that the average individual living in America knows that there's crazy shit going on in the inner city. There's crazy things going on in the less fortunate areas of every town. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so if it's being spoken on now, is it for the purpose of altering the circumstances or just perpetuating it by continuing to feed energy into it? You know what I mean? Because like we said earlier, when you speak the word, the energy that's associated with that is put out there. You know what I mean?
Well, if you look at artists such as Tupac, you look at artists such as Nipsey, they had similar missions. Only difference was Nipsey had actually lived, rest in peace to both, long enough to buy up some of his block. You know what I mean? So he was able to show that particular angle of it as well.
Right.
But
he was a real gangster too. He lived it.
Well, obviously,
rappers ain't really been a gangster. They just pretended.
That's a very important part, though, of what we're talking about, because we almost arrive at a place to where the tool we use to measure a black man's value in our community is his street cred, as if there's no other principle or characteristic within that individual that we can use to gauge his worthiness.
Right.
Who gives a fuck if somebody was a real street nigga or not? What does that really matter in the grand scheme of things?
That's not what I mean.
And not just that, it's like, so what you shot people, so what you sold dope, or so, at some point it's okay. We could almost call those people the scumbags in our community as well, not just those things, because it's a borderline thing. If you were just selling dope because you had to feed your family, that's one thing. But if you were selling dope, you know what I'm saying, and you ravished your neighborhood,
right, or you just had that I want to take over the world attitude.
Right,
I'm going to take over the world. I need more money. There's differences in that.
You don't get no credibility for that, in my opinion.
You're right.
You don't get no credibility for senselessly killing somebody in the streets. You don't get no credibility. They talk all this stuff about people snitching, and I guess the YSL stuff that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And, that YSL stuff that's going on, and basically, they let the one brother out, and they saying he turned his back on his bros or whatever, and all that type of stuff. But here's the thing, you know what I'm saying? You can basically run in a fight. Like if you're from the streets and somebody runs up on you and you run from the fight, you consider a sucker or whatever, but you still able to come around afterwards. But if somebody tells, they're saying that that's the ultimate, and I just think that people are not looking at the grand scheme of things. There's more than one way to be a sucker in the streets. You get what
right.
Right. There's some things that are worse than telling. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, that's a prime example of kind of what I was talking about earlier. At what point do you, if you're really about, I'm trying to feed my family, I'm trying to grow different businesses in my neighborhood. If you're really about that, how much money does somebody have to make before they abandon the street business? You understand what I'm saying? How much money has to be made? Right. So if you got a conglomerate of people that's sitting on all these millions of dollars, and every time they turn around, they're still trying to funnel it right back into that lower level aspect of money making. That individual is probably, they don't got their eyes set on the bigger picture. And
well, and here's the thing about it too. This is why it goes back to the company that we keep. Maybe coming into it, they didn't see past that original "let's feed my family." If you don't have any other voices around you saying, okay, well, we made X numbers of dollars, let's have a community drive where we give some bicycles away, where we feed some of those. You have to have somebody. If you don't have that idea in your head already, at least have some people around you who are gonna give you that angle. They're going to help you to see that. That's why there's strength in numbers, and it's important to have the company that you keep.
I agree with you on that, but then I think that there's another aspect that gets overlooked. It is important to analyze the company that we keep, but on the same token, we got to buy out time to get with ourselves, so that whatever our thought process is, that a measure of it is coming from within. You know what I mean?
Right.
Rather than it always being influenced from something external. You know what I mean? If you deep in the game, is you spending all your waking hours around everybody that's on the block? Or do you ever buy out a 2-3 hour block to go get with yourself? You know what I mean? And then see what you think. Maybe you don't need a voice of reason because it already exists in you. You just been ignoring the hell out of it because you ain't giving yourself no time to listen to it.
Right. And so by you even saying that, though, by you even mentioning that, somebody watching could later say, well, let me go to myself and pull that out because they haven't quieted the noise. Mm-hmm. They haven't quieted the noise around them. So it goes both ways.
Right.
Yeah. So basically, it gets to the point where the artist, when you make a certain amount of money, or not just artists, anybody, if you're in the street game and you selling drugs or whatever you're doing, it gets to a point where you're almost dangling snake around wool. You know what I'm saying? And so people, if they see that you just don't give a fuck about nobody but yourself and that you're not for the people, of course they want to rob you. Of course they want what you have because they think they can represent it better than you're representing it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. It's crazy with the stuff that's going on. You know, the boy getting shot at the Waffle House and getting his jewelry snatched off him and all that stuff. I'm not saying, you know, that he brought that on himself, but you have to understand that if you got this, you know, I don't care about nobody else but myself, and it's all about my progression and nobody else's struggle. And if you broke, that's your fault for being broke type of mentality. You deserve to be broke because you were born and chose brokenness, you know.
Right. Well, and see, but this is the thing I wanted to say about that, because it even goes back as we were talking about Nip and Pop and different things, and even current this day rapping or rappers. I think that it's the same thing. It's not necessarily that if somebody is saying, oh, I made so much money, let me go floss it in the hood. But if I made X number of dollars, I could still go to the Waffle House if I wanted to, or I could go to the chicken and waffles or whatever the case may be. They're feeling like they could, but you got to be mindful. And I hate to keep piggybacking on, but you got to be mindful. There's somebody hungry in that area still. And there's somebody who might not have a moral compass, who doesn't see, all they see is the right now. And in their mind, it might look like you're flossing. You might not have been thinking about flossing at all because you didn't even give it a thought. So is it always important to kind of think about things, think stuff all the way through?
I think you giving people a whole lot of credit. They gave it the thought when they bought that chain. When they bought people ain't stupid. You know what I mean? It's not about the Waffle House or wherever you're at. It's about, am I gonna cover myself in blood and then jump into shark infested waters?
Right. I get what you're saying.
Because really, that's how you sum it up. That's how you sum it up. You know damn well where this place is located at. Okay, you know folks ain't doing good. They starving and they with every aspect of all the hood business. You know what I mean? So it's like, again, oh man, I can kind of go where I want to because and what motivates that? Our community has demonstrated that your street credibility is the most worthy aspect of your manhood. Why else would a man take his family and place them in that sort of circumstance? If
Well,
he's
I mean,
not,
'cause
you
I don't
understand
know,
what I'm
because
saying?
as I think about it, I think about, okay, well, at the same time, there might be somebody who breeds envy, who has a chain as nice as mine, but they're an envious, jealous motherfucker. They could still shank me too. You know what I mean? So the same thing could happen. You
Right.
know, it's we're talking about something that lives inside of the person who actually follows through on something like that.
But
Right.
it hasn't actually been proven that having street cred will keep you alive in our society, in our black society.
In fact, it is proven that it has.
It's actually been the exact opposite
It's the exact
Right.
opposite. The
because of
realer
that
you are,
enviousness that she was just talking about.
yeah,
You,
yeah.
you know what I
The realer
mean?
you are, the more they want to kill you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that we are still, because we're on with the topic right now that we're covering is music and self-expression and the various angles of it. And I think we did a good job of explaining what we're talking about. I just want to make sure that anybody that jumped in on this part of it, they understand that this is, you know, we're not here to pinpoint, offend. We're not here to downgrade. We're not here to judge any of the things that happen, because what we do is we promote the value of life itself. We're promoting life. We are trying to empower our people. We are providing, again, the very reason we are on this podcast is to ask people to think outside the box. So I just wanted to make sure that I ran that back around again for anybody who's listening. We're just throwing different things out there so that you might say, as Arsenio Hall used to say, things that make you say, think about some shit. That's what we want you to do.
And I'm never.
Yeah, I think with everything we talking about with you know some of these individuals in the game and how things have worked out for them or not worked out, you know, because we could look at it that way too. I think it's really a good segue into our next topic about community service. You know what I mean?
Right.
Why it's such a big deal to not just be a pillar in the community, but to be, you know, a craftsman that aids in the building of other pillars. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's not an individual thing. So I would really like to touch on that a little bit, because I think strong families make strong communities. You understand what I'm saying? So one of the things that we had talked about is that community service, it really starts in the house. You know,
yes.
Are we being a pillar in the community of our home?
Right.
Because if we not doing that, all our efforts outside the home are really, I mean, they're almost in vain.
Because our kids are going to be the ones out there, you know, causing destruction in the community.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so one thing Mama used to always say, and I don't know if you guys remember her saying this, but she would say charity starts at home.
Yeah, no doubt.
And some of the things, as Mama used to say, she had so many sayings, but when you hear it as a kid, when you think about charity starts at home, you're like, what is she talking about? You know, but as an adult, you have a deeper understanding of what she meant when she said that.
Right. Because if you can't, you know, if you can't demonstrate no humanitarianism in your own house with your own kids, your own mate, then all that shit you doing for show don't really matter.
Absolutely.
It's a farce, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And so when you hear the word community, or community service, what are some things that means to you, Deez?
It means a lot, really, to me, because I feel like people have to, you know, give back to our struggle that's going on in our communities, because this just ain't working out. I mean, we can't continue to blind eye and say that our community is strong. If we was to go in America and look at the Black communities in America, we can't say that these communities are strong because we're killing each other, we're robbing each other, we're prostituting our daughters out, we're sending all our sons to prison, we're teaching our sons to sell drugs and be pimps, and it's like we want to live on this underbelly of society. We want to we are trying to okay things that aren't really okay. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when I think about community, the words that I had wrote down was impact, giving back. Those are things. So I have to tap on what kind of impact am I having in the community? If we say that charity does start at home, then yes. Then the question would be, what kind of impact are you having in your household? So so that we're able to keep all of those things full circle. And the main fact that we have to realize too, sometimes everything is not on a actual financial scale. It may be on an emotional scale. Well, emotionally, how are you feeding your families? How are you feeding your families?
I think that's probably one of the bigger pieces,
Right. Right.
So when you said that charity starts at home, I ain't even think about nothing. Nothing material even came to mind when you said that. It immediately sparked a viewpoint of immaterial gifts that you can, give to your children or whoever's in your home setting. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. It's easy to go buy something and drop it on somebody. That doesn't take a whole lot of effort. Sometimes it may require thought, but I mean, think about what we talked about earlier about being out of that comfort zone. Sometimes it's uncomfortable to sit down with your young life or to sit down with your mate and take a dive on the internal to see what you can offer to them, what humanitarian act you can do for them on an immaterial level. You know what I mean?
Well, and I know that you guys know because you guys know my kids. And so my kids, they always bring in the tough conversations to me. And they always are often challenging me to reinvent or renew myself instead of saying, I've been like this for 50 years. Okay. And maybe that wasn't a good idea. And so they are always trying to call me on my stuff. And that is true what you're saying, but I think that presence is more than just being there. So when I say presence, I mean not presence like everybody's worrying about putting under the tree right now. I'm talking about your actual presence in someone's life and letting that be the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, because I was present in class in high school a lot of the times, but I wasn't there.
Right.
I was somewhere else.
Right.
I might have said, yeah, I raised my hand that I'm present, but I wasn't there.
Right.
And the same thing applies in the house. You could be in the house, but you ain't really there if you ain't tuned in to what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's hard to learn in school or in a setting like that if you got other things going on in your life, any sort of dysfunction, any type of, somebody's sick with cancer or some, anything like that, like you said, you'll be present, but you will not be there,
Right.
Because
so then we could agree that the youth is a good place to start. I was putting there, things that I've jotted down, different things that can be done as a form of community service. And as I was writing, I was saying, well, I could put a couple of little hygiene packs in my car. And then when I see a bum on the street, I can hand it to them. And but the best thing I can do is talk to youth. And because like Dee said, I don't know what's going on in their homes, but if you tell, you say, hey, if you're having a conversation with them and they might be in a situation where there's domestic violence or there's drug abuse or they're hungry, whatever the case may be, to have somebody listen and hear you out is the best thing that you can do for somebody.
Sometimes it's the only glimpse of positivity that they have. Like, damn, this person looked at me and thought I was worthy of some sort of attention on a deeper level, that might be the only glimpse of positivity that they've had in who knows how long.
Right.
Because most people are looking at these people like, if you're driving down the street right now, say we were in a car driving down the street and we went through some, poverty-stricken neighborhood or some ghetto, and we seen some brothers standing out on the corner or something. We're not going to have too many positive things to say about it. If we see a crowd of 10 dudes standing out on the corner, we're going to be like, look at these dudes over here selling dope, or look at these dudes over here looking for some trouble to get into, or look at these, our first perception of them is going to be a negative one, most likely. But it's
Right.
like Tavon was saying, like Valley was saying, basically, say if you seen them on the corner and you said, you know what, pull over so we can holler at these brothers real quick. You know what I'm saying? And you go over there, hey man, how you brothers doing today or whatever, what's going on or whatever. They probably gonna be standoffish or skeptical or anything like that. Hey man, you know what, man, I wanted to give each one of you brothers $100. You know what I'm saying? Just in case your kids need diapers, just in case your rent, you might be behind on your rent, or your cell phone needs to be paid, or something of that nature. You feel what I'm saying? It would change. I think not saying that it's all financial, giving back to the community has to be on some financial aspect, but it's just.
But it does. We'd be lying if we didn't acknowledge that that's a huge part of it, though. So and the scary part about it is, even if you guys say you two are driving into one of what's considered to be a ghetto neighborhood or whatever in a urban community, and you're over there, the thought of you guys getting out of the vehicle would be scary for me, because I'm like, I don't know what you guys are, if you're going to be received properly, and they don't know that your motive is to come and enlighten them. You know what I mean?
See, you got to figure
that's
out.
why I gave an example of the delivery. Hey, what's up with you brothers?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
You got to move with respect, and so you think about what we was talking about, presence. Sometimes if your delivery, the way you approach them, hey, what's going on with y'all, indicates that you're there for peace. Now, people
That's
are
true.
like, wait a minute. So you deliberately came over here to try to deliver some sort of positivity.
That's
and
true.
I know this from back when, I used to be out preaching to people, whatnot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I know it from being locked
it was a select few folks that was going to slide up in the sunny slope. It was a select few folks that was going to hit them blocks off of 68.
Right.
you understand what I'm saying? Like, but the reception that I experienced was like, man, you deliberately came over here to bring this message.
Right.
You wasn't worried about that. You was willing to do whatever just to be right here. That goes a lot further than we might, want to recognize until we've stepped out there to do it.
Right. Right. I agree.
Like Maisha, you got to think. It's like I said, I've been in some real situations in some real treacherous places. Being California penal system,
Right.
So I don't have that automatic fear to approach.
And see, that's good. That's good.
It's not the same for me, because I've been around the people that we see on the news that society is terrified of.
Right.
I ate breakfast with those guys, or went out to the rec yard and worked out around those guys, or so I'm not the community service part, and walking up and each one teach one, or being able to have a word with the brothers out there that's struggling in the streets or whatever. That ain't no big deal for me,
Right. I wanted to acknowledge Castro XIV. He said, respect to my brothers. He's giving you guys a shout out here in the comments. So thank you. We have our first set of comments, and it's coming with a big ups to you guys. So I love it.
Shout out to Castro XIV.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out Castro. It's love, bro.
Yeah. And again, when we afford ourselves the opportunity to be transparent like we are, believe it or not, it will be well received. I'm glad you brought the aspect, bro, of the penal system and the likes of the individuals that you were forced to be around, and that you weren't allowed to have a fear factor. And that's a good angle to provide as well, because at this point moving forward, there's no reason why you wouldn't go out into the streets and move accordingly. You still can get your message out. So that was one of the things that I had put also in my notes to myself, that right now when everyone looks at us, we are in four corners, and that's four corners with a K, not so because we want to stand outside of think outside the box. But this podcast, we are all in a box right now. But what I'm challenging every individual inside of this podcast to do is get outside of our box. We have to go. So the only way to really be of service is to get out there and be of service. So that's something that I want to challenge us to do. And moving forward, street science is going to be a huge part of what goes on. And you guys have already know that part of what I want to do is get out there in the streets. I have something to say. I want to go hold my microphone and shove it in somebody's face and ask some questions.
That avoidance of that initial fear factor that Dees was talking about is important in all of that. You know what I mean? And I think for me personally, the way to be able to establish that lack of fear is you have to try to see yourself in whoever it is you approaching, even if he is a mass murderer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's some sort of commonality there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, the main thing is getting the youth today to see that we came from Malcolm X and Harriet Tubman and Marcus Garvey and these Martin Luther King, and these brothers had a message and they wanted to see our community do better, right?
Right.
So the streets existed then. It was brothers selling dope then.
Yes, it was.
Pimping and prostituting and killing and robbing then.
Yes. And so wait. So it was brothers doing that then. So now you fast forward 30, 40 years, and is it better now or was it better then? So if the youth wants to be stubborn and not listen, like we don't know nothing, but we can simply let history show us which path was better for our people. You know what I'm saying? The past was obviously a better place because brothers had solidarity and unity. Without being unified, there is no voice.
That's real.
That is real. And so, and the thing about that though, one thing I want to say is that
I just want to say, because obviously she's having some technical difficulties. Tusav and fell out of the group, and she hasn't been able to get back in. But we rocking with you, and your presence is felt even in your absence. And whenever you can get back in, jump back in. But we holding you down in the process.
Right. One of the things that I was going to say, we take for granted that because of who our mom was and the background of our parents, that everyone is being taught, because we can't rely on schools to teach Black history. We can't rely on any of that. So one of the things that we have an obligation as we speak on community service, somebody might not know who Marcus Garvey is. Somebody, and this is real talk, like they might not know who George Jackson is. They might not know. So these are things that we can enlighten them on, whether we provide resources, which is books to read and different things like that. That's good. Those are things that we need to be able to tell too, not just to our children. All right, now I see you, big sis. Come on in.
I felt her coming back. That's why I had to say something. I felt the energy on the horizon.
There we go. Speaking that positivity into existence. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
so, but what I was saying is, and I mean this, we may have knowledge of leaders that were back when what you're talking about, Dees. We need to make sure that the younger people are aware of who those leaders were and other different sacrifices outside of the normal Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King. We want to tell them about some other people too.
Yeah.
No, that's real. That's real.
Freedom. We had to fight for our freedom to eat at a restaurant, freedom to ride a bus, freedom to go to a school. You get what I'm saying? And vote and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? And people actually died for us to have these advantages, you know what I'm saying, and this freedom. And so now you telling me after all these people that went through this struggle, we just gonna throw it all down the drain for street cred, or
Right.
throw it all down the drain to look a certain way in the eyes of people who some of them don't matter, you know. And I'm not afraid, you know. I'm not impressed with the streets. I didn't live it as pretty as deep as you can go. So
Right.
anybody that knows me knows that. So I'm not somebody that don't understand. Kiss my
Right.
ass.
And so it would be fair, it'd be fair to say, right? It's fair to say that coming from you, if you can think outside of the box, which is the purpose of the podcast, anybody can.
That's real. Yeah. And we think about what that really means. Think outside the box. Okay. What is the box? The social construct that we live in. Are we allowing our minds to be boxed in by some predetermined way of thinking? We
Right.
already know in our family setting, the answer is hell to the no. We not
Right.
doing none of that, you know.
Right.
And there's more people out there that fall along them same lines, you know what I mean? And that's, you know, I think that's the part that I really appreciate about the fact that we doing this is there's somebody out there that resonates with, hey man, so what that that's what everybody else is doing. This what I'm doing. This what I want to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we need that steel, sharp, and steel kind of effect with people that have the likeness of mind to be the change that we want to see.
Right. And so a shout out to Antoine Jarvis. He put peace to the gods. Glad
Mr.
to see.
Jarvis in the building. He one of the people I'm talking about. Shout out
Right.
shout out to you, bro.
He said peace to the gods. Glad to see these minds speaking openly. Much love. So
Yeah,
we have
right.
with us, we only got 2 comments, but they're 2 positive ones. And so that
Absolutely.
just goes into the cycle of what we're putting out is coming back in.
Absolutely. Yeah. Community service, man. I think that's such a big deal. Y'all know I was involved in the community outreach work for a period of time where I took my little hiatus from truck driving and dove into the community outreach work. And my heart still leans toward that on a daily basis. It's just that when you have the responsibility of providing for self and others,
Right.
what feels good to you, it may not put you in a position to carry the load of your responsibilities. You know what I mean? And that's really the only reason why I even got out of that. It just wasn't aiding me in carrying the load. But
Right.
I do think that it's not enough to talk. You know what I mean? We got to get out there and get active. You know, I know there's some brothers that have been through, like what Deez was talking about, his experiences. I know personally that I ran into people who have had them same type of experiences and share his mindset. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they out there, it don't matter if they're only talking to 2 kids a month. They're out there. You know
Right.
you know what I mean? And
Right.
they understand that their experience gives them a level of insight, a viewpoint that's rare. And not only that, that's gonna be received well from the young life because they know, okay, he actually understands what I'm going through right now.
Right. Right. And you can even flip that to the other side. If we're catching the children before they go to the prison, and we're catching the man who came out of the prison and saying, well, man, I know it's taken a while for you to acclimate back into society. I know where you struggle. You want to wave hands and dap with both of those sides of it. So that we're doing the preventative maintenance and we're also repairing what may have been broken along the way.
Yeah, the preventative maintenance is vital.
It's very, very, very key. Very key.
We have to have, even if it's only on a community level, on a small community level, we have to have some sort of teaching program in place. You know what I mean? And just like, you know, what Deez was talking about earlier, if we go back in time and look at what was being done,
Right.
and what was the result of it, and then
Right.
we fast forward to right now, and if the result is still the same effort, there's need for adjustment. You know what I mean? So if we look at the fact that a lot of times youngsters wind up in the life that they live in due to varying circumstances, but it really comes down to a lack of personal knowledge, a lack of insight of self. You understand what I'm saying? How do we put together that teaching program to catch them before they go wayward, as you said?
Right.
Well, I believe, you just have to show a child that there's other things than what's glorified in the streets. Something little can catch a kid's attention. Something that they like. If it's video games, show them that they could become a programmer that makes video games.
Right.
Or you have to show them something that they can want to take to the next level, that they're interested in, or that they think that they can do.
Right. I agree.
And then, like I was saying, I feel like, why do we have to just be a rapper, be an NFL, be a basketball player, be an actor, or some sort of entertainer? Why is our community one of the only communities that, like, instead of opening up a food truck business, a restaurant business like the agents, or like, why do we settle in and we basically shrink our possibilities of growth because we don't understand that there's more to it.
It's because they want to get money fast. Okay, they want the fast money. They want the goodness that comes with the fast money.
I believe that some of it is fast money and what you see, but I believe that some of them have never seen that can be done. They've seen on TV that, that guy could come from the hood, and if he practiced all day and he practiced all night and he made slam dunks, then he might make it to the NBA. But he might not know near person who decided, because he didn't seen somebody cook, but he ain't never knew that if you cooked and you can own a food truck. We have to be able to let them know, because sometimes you can't see anything other than what is in your bird's eye view. They've never seen anything different.
This is why I hate the whole mentality of flexing, because of what you're talking about. Because the average, you could just look it up. I ain't even gonna say no names. You can go think of the most successful nigga in hip hop, man. Because the way everybody, and I can't, like he's special. You gotta have this, that, and the other. Like he's special, right. Instead of taking the time to demonstrate that I ain't no different than you. You can do this too. It doesn't take some special element that only a particular bloodline of people possess. Because that's what all that flex shit is about. You can't be me, and this is how we do over here, and we do it better than y'all do over there. Somebody got to sit down and be like, hey man, I ain't no different than, if I'm doing this, so can you. Matter of fact, let me show you the steps that I took to do that. Because in the age of the internet, if a young person ain't seen somebody be successful in any regard, that young man is being neglected by people who have the ability to show him.
Right, but there's somebody somewhere doesn't even have the internet.
I understand that, but right next to him, there's somebody who possesses the ability to show him. But he's too busy flexing. He's too busy trying to knock him a baddie.
Right.
You see what I mean?
And so it brings me to another thing that we got to talk about too, is shiny things. We live in a world that's image related, and everything has to look a certain way. So if there was a man who came to parents come to school day, parents come to show your work that day, and one of the parents is a well-known basketball player or well-known rapper, and then the other one is a well-known restaurant owner or a well-known hotel manager, the person who comes and looks shiny, if they pulled up in a Benz, and the other one pulled up in a Hyundai, but they're all business owners. It's people like shiny things. And so we have to get down to the meat and potatoes of it, because the person who made all that money doing basketball, there's a lot of basketball, footballs, and other entertainers, they go broke because they never had they don't know money management.
It's been proven through statistics that most Black athletes experience financial hardship after they leave their respective professions.
Absolutely. And
anyone who has money and doesn't know management is going to lose their money. Anyway.
Well, and that's just all around the board. And so I saved the reason I brought that up is because we got to stop looking at what looks good, because sometimes it might come in an ugly package, but it's something real good and informational for you. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um.
It starts with the if you have children, you have to first love your child, support your child in what they're doing, show them that the little things that they do matters. We don't rear our children anymore. Our children aren't reared by the parents. They're reared by TV, the kids at school, the teachers, or whoever. It starts with parents. We have to become parents again. We have to love our kids. We have to show them that there's more to the world than just the internet. And that's just all there's to it.
On that. But I think that's a lot easier said than done, because the way I look at it is, it doesn't matter what your endeavor is in life, whether you're going to be a parent or you're going to be a Supreme Court justice. You understand what I'm saying? You have to master the art of being a man or woman first. If you have not mastered yourself as a man or a woman, then you're going to struggle in the area of parenting, because you still ain't figured yourself out. You see what I'm saying? That has to be a priority. And the reason why we have so many issues with that is because people are jumping into having kids before they've even figured out who the hell they are.
Right. I want to commend the people in the community that do put their time and effort into helping the kids that's out there that don't have anybody. The people who run the programs and do the little leagues and the football, and even people who do the Sunday school at church. You know, they're trying to help our youth, and that's important. That is so important.
It's about teaching the kids.
We can't hear you, Ma. Every time you try to speak, I'm not hearing you. No volume.
She's frozen.
Because I think when the call came through,
there you go.
One thing that I was going to say about that too is we can't just count on. I applaud everybody that is in the community, but it's together we pack a mighty blow. Mm-hmm. Yes, we have the Sunday school teachers who are giving it the best that they got. Yes, we got the few and far between community service or community centers that we have, you know, well, but it's gonna take everybody. Everybody's got a part to play.
And that's crazy that you have to say that about Black folks, because we had to be together to get where we are right now.
Right. But so that's why it's uniform though, because we have to, like you said, take it back to the basics.
Right.
And analyze the results. You know, how effective has this particular angle been over this particular amount of time? And if it hasn't yielded favorable results on a large scale, is it logical for us to continue that method?
Right. Say we have a community center. Say there's a community center. It has computers for people that don't have Wi-Fi. It has different artistic avenues where the kids can have the venture through. But the center's just there. The center doesn't have a shuttle driver. See, if there's a shuttle driver, there's somebody who's going to go out and he picks up X number of kids, they're going to make it to the center. You know what I mean? So then they've widened the amount of people that they can touch. So those things have to be, when you talk about the analytics of things, those things have to be considered as well, because there's somebody who might want to go. There's somebody who might want to hear what has to be said, but he might not have a way to get there. His parents might work. His parents might not have a car. You know what I mean? So we have to think of all those different aspects of why things aren't happening.
No, and I think it goes even deeper than just not being able to get there. When they get there, like, okay, we put these kids in this arena. We have to think of the variety of different types of people that exist. Somebody's naturally inclined towards basketball, football, things of electronics, all this kind of stuff. But if we're only offering, this is what I meant, because YMCA or the neighborhood
Boys and Girls
community
Club.
center,
Yeah.
man, listen, that's been going on.
Right.
But that only caters to people that are naturally inclined to athleticism. You understand what I'm saying? What about the person who's naturally inclined toward the acquisition of knowledge? He's a bookworm and he wants to read, or naturally he wants to get out in the grass and pick these. You understand what I'm saying? We have to have something in place that really helps young people be able to tap into what they are naturally inclined toward, rather than fitting in what's prescribed for them.
Right. Right. Because
about being individuals, you have to be able to teach these people to be individuals, because it's just like the lemur effect or whatever, what the ones that run and jump off the cliffs or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you just show them, okay, go out here in society and do your best to do what everybody else is doing.
Exactly.
Like, that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You have to teach your children, your grandkids, whoever it is, to be individuals and to have their own personal journey and their own personal goals. You know, like I said, I hate to say it, but music and entertainment has become so negative. I mean, it's cool if somebody wants to strive to be that, but our entertainers and our musicians and stuff like that, they've let us down more than they've elevated us, so to speak. You feel what I'm saying? Nobody gives back. Nobody gets their $1 million and says, you know what, man, I'm gonna come up with this business that employs 600 people in my neighborhood.
And when you see the ones that are attempting to doing that, them be the ones out here getting knocked down.
They get killed. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing that kind of is hard, because when I think about all the people in the actors, you know, in the entertainment business, not just in the athletes, but entertainment altogether. And even in the fashion world, we are out there now. Blacks are out there. We're in everything.
Have been for some time.
Right. So if everybody gets involved, then that's when we'll see the change. It's going to take everybody getting involved.
Getting involved in what, though? What are we talking about?
Getting involved in what's going on in the community. Getting involved in what's going on in your household. Getting involved, getting involved, not just on the sidelines. You're on the sidelines of it all.
So what do we use as individuals to grow ourselves to be the teacher, the good listener, or whatever we may need to be in our community? What tool do we use to do that? Because right now, the resounding answer is gonna, like somebody gonna go to TD Jakes, or forget his name, but the Bible, religion, whether it be, Buddhism, this is what people are going to go to strengthen self. And that's why I asked earlier, like, if we look back over time at what has been being used and it has not yielded favorable results, is it logical to continue to do that? Maybe we have to find some other avenue to tap in with self, to strengthen ourselves so that we can put ourselves in place to be whatever it is we want to be on a community level. You see what I'm saying?
Well, and I think that poses a good question. Maybe that's something that for us to further ponder on at a later point.
No doubt.
We have to be able to raise those kind of questions and continuously challenge ourselves to figure out those type of answers, to talk to other people and figure out those kind of answers, because it's not something that was destroyed overnight. It's not something that's going to be rebuilt overnight.
No doubt.
You know that there's ingredients. Unity is a big part. We cannot make this type of progress in some corner. Okay, I'm rich. I'm filthy rich. I made it. So our family will add to the one statistic that reads that helps Blacks financially being secure or with businesses. So that's the statistic. That's a positive statistic. So that's all we got to do is just have that go on. But you got all these, like you were saying, you got all these successful Black people, and at some point, when in their mind is going to come together and say, you know what, man, all I see on Instagram or all I see on these platforms is Blacks fighting and struggling and doing a bunch of negativity, and the girls ain't got no clothes on, and the boys are sexualizing the women, whatever. You know what I'm saying? When is our community going to build something big for ourselves? Like we don't have to go, go to Tuskegee Black College or whatever. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, there's enough money between these entertainers. Some of them are billionaires. There's
Right.
enough money for them to build something for everybody to participate in.
Right. Well, and I think another thing that I wanted to mention too is everybody wants to get money so they can move all their family members out of the hood. They want to move. Well, what about leaving somebody in the hood, but building a big house in the hood, that's a neighborhood house where somebody can come in and sleep at, if they didn't have a place to stay. I think that we need to get out of the ideal of just leaving the hood or leaving the community. I mean, we should be able to put our roots anywhere.
I agree with you on that to a certain extent, and the only reason why I say that is because it can be sometimes when a person is committed to staying in the hood, all they've done is start the clock on their demise. You know what I mean?
Well, I agree.
We have to be mindful of that. And this is going to vary depending on the circumstances in that particular neighborhood.
Right.
But each individual has to know, man, does it make sense or not for me to stay here? Because we can't.
They don't have to stay there. They don't have to stay there, but they don't have to move everybody. The object isn't to just moving on up like George and Wheezy. You know what I mean? And I get where you're going with that, because that's true. If we look at some of our people, they stayed in the hood a little too long until the hood took them under. So I get that part of it too. I'm just saying that if we building up our neighborhoods, if we're continue to build up our communities, we don't need to just go, okay, I moved away, and then on Thanksgiving or Christmas, you're back for a toy drive or to give away a free turkey, but you ain't been invested in what's going on around there.
I think it starts with your inner family first. Your nieces and nephews, those kids. When you see those kids, and if their parent isn't structured right, well, this weekend I'm gonna have something at my house. Why don't you bring the kids over and everybody come over? And then when the kids get over there, then you show them some positive stuff. What's different? You got to show them something positive. Make it a fun day, and when they come to your house, everybody got something different to do. Or ask them what's the fun thing that you would like to do, or we have to start with our family first. We can't just
agree.
Go into the community.
And we tapped on that part about Mama always saying charity starts at home. But Antoine Jarvis had put inside of the comments, and I'm going to be one to always tap in because I want to acknowledge the questions and be interacting with people. He said, if we don't put financial literacy first, it's going to be an uphill battle. Teaching ourselves, then teaching the youth how to build their business credit up, and then use other people's money to fund projects.
Absolutely.
Very, very important.
100%.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And we all agree with that. And so that is an important point. And see, that's the thing. We know this. We got to figure out how to implement this. Because the financial literacy is key.
Well,
I know because I've had money and I've lost money.
It's real simple. And you have to view certain things like the same way you would view a cocaine addiction, for lack of a better term. Because the thing that prevents a lot of us from being able to do or take the time out to become financially literate is because people sitting back, I can't do that today. Like I already knew by us having this podcast on Sunday, at the time that we're having it, there's a ton of people that are never going to see this because they're going to make sure they're watching football.
Right.
they're going to make sure they're at church. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Are you buying out the time to become literate in a financial sense? That
Right.
it starts there. You know what I mean?
Right.
But in order for you to buy out that time, you got to get rid of that cocaine habit. You know, football
Right.
is cool, but like,
Right.
is it better than knowing how to, learning financial literacy?
If you,
You understand what I'm saying? Like, what are you going to get out of that investment versus investing your time into financial literacy or learning financial literacy?
Let these talk. Let these talk.
3 hours watching football.
Like you said, most people won't see this. And like when you guys said we were going to start it on Sunday, and I said no because I've been going to church and I want to go to church.
They just turn that little thing.
I want to go to church. But this is church for me right now because this is going to build my inner strength. This is what I was going to church for, is to build my inner strength, which will take me to the next level of now getting my mindset to have a better financial mindset on how to build my finances and to have a steady whatever I venture into next.
Mm-hmm.
It's a stepping stone. I didn't think I'm like, I already know I probably won't be able to, something's going to happen to where it's not going to be right on my end. And I kept saying that to myself, and I'm like, no, it's going to be all right. Things just go, excuse me.
Hold your
Come on
head,
now, real.
big sis.
Keep it real. I mean,
Yeah.
just keep it real. That's what this is about.
Hold your head.
Just this morning, all the adversities, just to, getting back on and all this other kind of thing. I'm here right now and I'm dedicated to this. I do know that because I'm dedicated to myself.
Mhm.
Right.
I got to.
Absolutely.
Right. Which
Absolutely.
and this is
And
the
your
importance of
presence
being able
matters here.
to cloak one another.
Mhm.
The mere fact that when you were gone, we were not in any way, shape, form thinking that you weren't going to be back. We understood that there was things trying to steal your joy or circumstances that were inevitable, but we knew you were going to be back. And the most important part is that we had your back. Is that we knew, even with delaying the start process, it was what Valia said. Well, let's wait a second because we can't start without the firstborn. You was the firstborn. So, I mean, this is the importance of working together and building people up. That's why I said reaffirm. We want to empower. We want to make sure that we're saying things that are positive. That's it.
That's the key. It's always have to be positive. Everything in life evolves around energy. Valley put me on a podcast that I listened to the other day, and that was so enlightening. It was just, man, beautiful energy. Energy is the most important thing in the world. If you have positive energy circulating around you, you are going to do nothing but elevate. If you have bad energy around you, all you're going to do is go down. And that's just all it is to it.
I want to tap on Antoine's comment, because he said when we can show them how to build something that will pay the bills, that will relieve some pressure, people are starting online businesses faster than most build a brick and mortar. So he talking about having something in place that relieves some of the financial pressure. Pressure is going to bust pipes, but it can also form diamonds. You understand what I'm saying? So it goes back to what you were talking about, the energy that you have around us. If we can relieve some sort of financial pressure, then the overwhelming desire to get that bag, that can kind of dissolve, because we see, oh man, I don't gotta have $1 million to be winning. I just need to learn how to utilize my 50 G's properly. You understand what I'm saying?
Not just that, you get out of survival mode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, and the important things too, because he had tapped on a little bit about building your business credit up, or building credit, the importance of credit. And I think that is one of the most under talked about things, as well as life insurance for Black people. So I want to tap in on those two things. The importance of what back in the day, our ancestors, I don't give a darn if they lived in a hut. Okay. I don't give a darn if it was a 2-bedroom house with 10 kids. Somebody had life insurance. When they passed away, somebody was able to now buy that they rented. Okay. And that they rented became a family home. And now it has equity, and it built. And it continues to go. We got to get back to the basics.
That's real. But, and it all ties in. So this just goes to show how when we have a meeting of the minds and we put this, so because for everybody that might not have heard, this was something that was put together in a 7-day time frame.
Right.
We got together and we figured out what the topics was going to be. But see, it's all coming full circle when you talking about getting back to the basics. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
We got to get to the point where we're able to have depth perception. That's the reason why that these people had life insurance, so that as time went on, the circumstances would not be what they are today. And understanding that I might not be around to see that come to fruition.
Right.
However, my contribution now is still worthy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just to say one more thing about it, we cannot sleep on the credit aspect of it.
You cannot.
It's so important to have that because, like he said, other people's money. There's not a billionaire in this world that you can name that doesn't live by that.
Right. And even more so importantly, if your credit is so bad and they see that you've never paid not one bill on time, why should they invest any of their money? Because the object is to make money. So it's important to keep your credit up. So people,
business credit though, like we got to get to a point where we're using our business credit, because that's going to put you in line for far more that you can you can leverage. You know what I mean, in whatever it is that you're trying to build.
Right.
Okay.
Business credit is different. Like a $30,000 car loan is a big deal to some people, right? If you establish business credit now, you can get a $200,000 loan or a $250,000 loan,
right?
And build something with that, and obviously, if you see you doing something like that, that's gonna put a lot more in your family, than a personal loan.
Right.
We have to have financial literacy. We have to know. You have to know. We got to read up on, that's another thing. We can have a forum just one time on different avenues to take to help us get out of ruts. What online courses we can take or what we can read about to help build our financial literacy, because it's important, because some people don't know how to. I struggle myself with dang, okay, so what am I going to do? What's going to help me get out of this or that? Right. As Diesel said, the struggle, the hustle, and when you don't have to worry about struggling and striving, then your mind's at ease. And
it does. It relieves some of the pressure. It does. It absolutely does.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily pressure relief, but if you don't have to spend your time trying to figure out how to make ends meet, now you got time to do other shit.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Actually progress. You're not stuck. Because just making ends meet, your circumstances may never change.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Historically, it's safe to say that they ain't going to. You know what I mean? For most people, they won't. Shout out to the homie Bo. He tapped in. What's good with you, bro? It's love from everybody on this panel.
Absolutely, fam.
Much love.
Oh, Big Bo, we love you.
And so I was just trying to get a little clarity on that too. How would I have told people to tune in today? How did people know? How did our loved ones know where to find us today?
Okay, so we're gonna have to do like a little refresher. we can talk about that off camera, but there was
Okay.
a couple of aspects that I think that all of us didn't have a solid understanding on how to project this out to the people, because I noticed that your Facebook is not linked to the broadcast as one of the destinations. So we can go over how to get that in for the next one. Next time around that way, because you got a lot of followers. You got a lot
I
of
do. I've been building them up. They've been getting
don't be trying to hide them and tuck them, and we need them too.
Right.
That Rome wasn't built in a day. Everything is steps. As soon as you skip a step, you're going to slip back down. So it's trial and error on everything in life. And, with next time it'll be a little bit better. And the time after that, it'll be a little bit better. And the time after that, it'll be a little bit better, until we are definitely all the gems that we are. I mean, we're right now already, because I know I'm a superstar. I'm just not sparkling as bright as I should be sparkling. But I am a superstar, and so are you, and so are you, and so are you, and so are anybody else that's listening right now. Right. But sometimes our stars isn't shining as bright as it should because of certain situations or whatever. But I know I'm a superstar, and once we get in everything going and flowing like it's supposed to, man, our little sparkle, our rays of sunshine are going to jump off onto somebody else, so that it can become the superstar that they are too.
I just feel like in the small time, this is our first episode. Shout out to each and every one of you guys for agreeing to do this, because I know that it took a lot. I had, if anybody watching only knew how many times I said we should do a podcast, and I know everybody had various reasons on what was holding them back. So I love y'all. I thank y'all. Thank you so much for taking time to agree to this. And yes, it's to the top from here.
Absolutely. And to touch on that, like I said before, I was probably the least interested, for my own reasons. But here it is. We put this together in a 7-day period, and the challenges that were faced in the process of it have caused us to grow. I mean, I might have had a fear of the unknown. Well, how we gonna go in here and do this? I don't even know how none of this works. This, that, and the other. But by accepting the challenge, it's like, oh, actually, I got this.
Right.
We got to get over that fear of the unknown and just embrace what's coming in front of us if it's connected to upward movement. You know what I mean?
Right. So I think that we can close out now our first episode, our first podcast, Four Corners. It's 4 siblings just giving their various perspective on everything. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. It's a lot more to come. We are ones that we got a lot to say. So be ready, y'all.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you something right now. This group of 4 right here, man. Some of our family chats that we've had should have been recorded, because we had.
Boy.
Look, we might have had reality TV numbers.
Well, I mean, and we're going to. I see that in our future too, because our reality is what sets us aside. Our reality, the fact that we have overcome a lot of the things that was meant to destroy us, we obviously have we're destined for greatness. And
we got mama's wings on our back. So, okay.
No doubt.
That's pretty much. So we dedicate this first episode to our mother, Patricia Ann Cowan. Rest in peace.
Absolutely.
We did it, Mom. Look, we did it.
I always love my mama.
That's it.
No, but for real though, we love you, Mama, and you breathe life into this, whether you knew it or not.
Right.
The energy is still circulating, and we picked it up and we running with it.
Thank you. All right, close it out.
Okay, so peace to everybody that tapped in. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We appreciate all the communication and interaction. And again, we did this kind of on a whim. So going forward, we'll be able to provide y'all with a little bit more of ahead time notice.
And you can follow us on social media.
And when we're going to be launching.
Yes, you guys get an opportunity to follow us on social media. Please do so. I'm going to hit in now.
Tap in with us and put in their comments. If you have any suggestions on anything that we discussed today, Put it in
topics.
comments too. Okay.
Right.
You have a suggestion that's going to help us on financial literacy, or how to reach the children, or how to build ourselves up.
Put it,
Or any technical support. If you guys
put
have
it
any
wherever
ideas
she
for
just went
technical
to.
support,
Yeah. I was actually trying to say a few minutes ago that the Facebook account that I wasn't able to get my Facebook account with 1,100 followers. I wasn't able to link that to this podcast, so we definitely would have had numbers had I would have been able to link it. But
What, you couldn't sign into it?
nah, it wasn't even that. It must be some setting in there. It showed me a tutorial, like a little thing, but I didn't have time to do it right now, obviously.
right? No, and that's definitely something we will do off of camera. We definitely want to make sure that we are able to talk about that. So I'm gonna go ahead and end call. If you guys want to do a quick chat outside of here, we can, just so that we'll know what we're going, where we're going next week.
We can go ahead and close it out because we agreed to keep it under 2 hours, and we're already at almost an hour and 56 minutes. So we can go ahead and close it out. I love all of y'all, and I appreciate
Love you
everybody
too.
for coming together and
Yes.
making this happen, and it's upward motion from here. So
All right. Love you guys too.
I want to say,
I'm out.
be with all of us through our rest of our day, and lead us back to this spot in our life where we could just build and grow and just be happy. Because that's the most important thing, is if you're happy with your life, then you'll make somebody else's life happy.
Absolutely.
All
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, it's
That's
love.
Miss My
Four
Mind
corners in the
72
building.
on
We'll
Instagram.
see